Lenka, go back in time to about 2 years ago, almost this time of year. We were talking on Zoom, we were just having our usual conversations that we had been having. And I said to you, why don't we record these conversations and put them on YouTube? I remember your face. It dropped. It did not look amused. And there was like this shocked look. Well, fast forward 2 years. We are now at episode 80. This is episode 80 that we've done. We've done it. We've created this podcast. So Lenka, when you think back to 2 years ago, I'm going to say almost to the month, but not quite, give or take a month to now. What have you learned? What realizations have you come up with? What do you love about what we're doing? And what do you think we can change or anything? I'd love to know your thoughts on episode 80. Look at us.
Yay! It's so exciting. Oh my gosh. So my biggest takeaway from this journey is that when you have the right partner, things are easier. And that it's been such a fun and pleasure and enjoyable journey to do this with you. Because of one of my challenges 2 years ago, I kind of wanted to do a podcast. I had a vision of like maybe I could do podcast. I didn't want to do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. There's so much that comes into podcast that just doing it alone without having a team, without having a budget, without outsourcing all the things. No, I wouldn't start if it was just me. But because you came up with the idea and we already had these conversations and we already knew that we have things, interesting things to talk about, we have lots of things in common, then and we did kind of naturally divided the roles between us. It was a no-brainer to be like, okay, so how are we doing it? What are we doing it? What are the ins and outs? And yes, the fear response, the immediate like, oh gosh, reaction was when you talked about video. Because there is a reason why it's only now that we're adding video to our podcast. Until now, it's been just audio and it's comfortable for me. But adding this layer, not necessarily that I find it difficult. I still am figuring out my background and I'm a perfectionist and I'm still not happy with how it looks, where I live, how my office looks like, all the setting. Not ideal. That's been for me a big obstacle from saying yes to video. But I wanted to do that. I understand the value, and recording it as a video obviously makes all the difference to be able to see you and interact with you and not just listen to it. But it's, for me, the number one real takeaway from something like this. It's don't go it alone, find someone and do it as a team, because it makes such a difference to then, have each other to lean on, to bounce ideas off, to divide and conquer. So for me, this has been a wonderful journey, and I'm so great that we're here 2 years later, 80 episodes later, stronger than ever, excited about what's to come, what we're doing from now on until episode 100, 200, whatever. So how about you? Tell me, how has this experience been for you? What is the one lesson or one surprising thing or one insight that for you has been the most, exciting, rewarding, interesting on this whole journey?
You are right. It is definitely having the right partner, and we still talk. We're still talking. We're still friends, which is a wonderful thing. And as you said, the roles have naturally divided amongst ourselves, and they just almost happened naturally without a lot of discussion. But one thing that I really love is meeting people that I wouldn't normally have met, or having conversations with people that I might not necessarily reach out to and talk to them, or even been in their circle, because of course we both have different networks and we're bringing people from our networks in. And you've brought guests who I wouldn't have connected with or met or necessarily had a conversation with. And this is what I love, is the new ideas, the new perspectives that have been introduced to me. And they've taken me on journeys within myself or in my life, because as our listeners will know, this is very much our journey that we are sharing with our listeners. And now from episode 80, viewers too. But we share what we're going through, what we're learning, what our obstacles are, and what's been happening. And some of the guests that we've had have actually got me thinking, it's like, oh, that's something I would like to dig into or learn more about, or read more about it, or something. And a couple of guests have been like, that's interesting, but I'm not going to dig deeper into it, because it's not necessarily doesn't appeal to me, but it's not the right time, or it's a topic that doesn't absolutely fascinate me. But that's not saying that I don't enjoy the conversations. I love having conversations with different people and their different perspectives and ideas. It doesn't mean that we've got to take on board those ideas and perspectives, but just spending that time listening. And the advantage to what I do within the podcast is I really get to listen to the conversations again with editing. And this is something that this podcast has pushed me to learn editing skills. So Lenka, like you with the video and unsure, me, it was like, I gotta edit. I gotta learn how to edit. And Lenka, you know that I was like, no, I'm not gonna edit. I won't. We've got to get it right. I'm not gonna edit. And then eventually it's like, okay, we do need to do some editing. We don't edit a lot. We just edit little bits and pieces that sometimes happen. We're human. But it's been a skills journey, and for me it's the fascination of conversation. So that's one thing. You've introduced me to amazing people, and I am looking forward to who else are we going to talk with, who else is going to come on and share their ideas, their perspectives. Is it going to be something I'm going to dig deeper into, or is it something like, that's interesting, okay, enjoyed that, learned something new, but I'm not ready to dig deeper into it. So there's been two sort of aspects to what I've really enjoyed about creating this project that we've done. I mean, it's become a real passion project for me. It's something that I just do because I really love doing it. And I love the conversations.
Absolutely. And I love likewise that, it is really allowing me to work on my listening skills and on my skills to ask questions. And as you said, like, it's beautiful that we can do it together and we are both different and we have different experiences and perspectives, because then I bring a guest and I kind of have an idea where the conversation could go, and then you jump in and you have completely different question, you take a different idea, and I'm like, I wouldn't think about it by myself. And I think it's enriching the experience for both of us, hopefully for guests and hopefully for listeners as well, that there is not only the dynamic of, I have a perspective and they have a perspective, but then bringing in multiple voices and allowing this conversation to be organic and see where it takes us. I think it's such a beautiful part of the podcast, the way we've designed it, the way we've got it. And I know that initially when we were thinking about the podcast, we were suggesting that there might be some solo episodes where I record something with a guest, you record something with a guest. And we've never done that, because I think we've really figured out that this, two co-hosts and one or maybe even two guests, we had that before, is a beautiful dynamic and it's a unique approach to this podcast. But what I also love is the fact that we are very respectful of each other's time and space and our guests' opinion, that some podcasts when they have multiple hosts or even with one host, it can be kind of jumping all over each other, and it can work for some, but I like that we do take clear pauses, that we do give each other, visual hints, and there are pauses in between, that we do allow the message to settle in, to think about it, not to just jump on top of each other and rush the conversation forward.
That has been something that we've learned over time. We've seemed to have settled into our flow. And I know that, we've had a lot of feedback saying it's really relaxed, it's comfortable, it's a great way to do it. We are not, as you said, pushy. It's not about us, it's about the guest. And we've had guests who are very chatty and they love talking. And we love that because it is about sharing information, sharing knowledge, getting it out there. And this is something that I think over the years we've come across our flow. And it's funny you mentioned that we did say we would do the odd recording on our own with a guest, and I was thinking about that the other day and I thought, we've never done that. We just seem to have worked out how to do it, and I don't think it would fit. It wouldn't be the right voice for us, because it is about our two voices, our two accents, the way that we speak and bounce off each other. And I think that is what makes this podcast. So before we finish this episode, share one nugget of something that you've taken within yourself over the last 2 years that you want to share with our listeners and our audience. Oh, we're on video, yes. But share one thing that's really personal to you. Could be something that you've learned, something that you maybe struggled with over the last 2 years, just something Lenka.
Well, this is a very simple question to answer, just from 80 episodes, from 80 conversations, from 2 years worth of work, just pick one thing, just one, the most important, the most meaningful, the most impactful. Yeah, sure. Thank you for that, Natalie. But for me, I think it was the exploration. It was the fact that I was allowed to invest this time into exploring so many different things. And because you are a little bit more on the woo-woo sphere of things, and some of the guests have been a little bit more out there, it really inspired me. And I can see how fast this door is opening since we started, that I am opening, and there are completely new opportunities, ideas, visions, spheres opening up for me in terms of the spirituality, in terms of the universe, energy, the world. So that's one thing that I'm incredibly grateful for this podcast, you and the guests you brought, and the conversations that kind of you enabled us to have with our guest, is the opening of the doors to spiritual explorations. And that's been so much fun. And I'm like, yes, give me more. How about you?
Yeah, easy peasy, isn't it? Easy peasy topic. Yes, just think of something. For me, it's the jumping off a cliff and realizing you're okay. You've got a parachute. I might have suggested the podcast and then it's like, bit nervous about it. But it is having your friendship and having somebody in your corner as you're doing this. So we bounce ideas on what we're going to talk about. And it's that space to explore topics that I might think, oh, is that something you would be interested in or not? But it's having that space to explore these different topics, what we have done and moving into the future. But it's having that partner in crime. Yes, I got to bring in the violence, you know me, but it's having that person with you who's in it together. And I think that makes the big difference. Is there's times when I think, oh, really, I've got to edit. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. It's been a really stressful week, or whatever, something comes up. And if you're on your own, it's like, oh, I can just skip it. That's okay. But when you've got somebody there with you, it's like, no, I need to get it done because I'm going to let Lenka down. And knowing that there's somebody there. And sometimes I'll say to you, you know what, I haven't managed to get it done. You will have it in time. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But it's just having that friendship, that person in your corner, that partner in crime who you on this journey together, but yet separately, because we both on some journey, and sometimes we come together and sometimes we don't. But the podcast brings us together, and we're able to share our experiences and know that there's somebody else with me doing this. And this is something that I find I've really enjoyed and loved doing. And just knowing that there's that partner in crime who's got my back.
Absolutely. This, as I said, I started with it, and I think it's a beautiful way to finish with it. It's sometimes it is hard to find the right person, be it in business, when you're starting out your business, when you're starting a project, it is hard to find the right person. And sometimes it took me a while, and I've been through different projects, through different businesses, working with people. And sometimes it works for a year or two or a couple of months here and there. And sometimes you end up with the relationship just broken. But sometimes it really brings you closer. And I think this is what we're doing here, reconnecting, finding mutual passions, finding topics to talk about, learning more about each other, and building something wonderful and sharing it with the world. So I'm super grateful for that. So tell me, Natalie, what are your hopes and dreams and wishes and plans for you, for me, for this podcast, for the future, for the next year or two?
Easy peasy. For me, it's growing this podcast, getting to the 500th episode. Yeah, I just went from 80 to 500. But it's getting those guests who can inspire our listeners, who can share those nuggets, and getting those people who have a story about into your life and sharing what knowledge they have, be it in business, be it personal, whatever it is, and expanding our knowledge base, so to speak. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. You and I, we have plans, and we're bringing out some new things. So the first thing we're bringing out is the YouTube channel, hence the videos. And I appreciate not all guests will want to be on video, and that is fine. You'll have the original podcast, but you and I are going to be on video from now on. So that's a new thing that's growing. I'm really excited, and I'm going to drop the bombshell. A newsletter's coming. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be something that we're growing. So you can see that we are really thinking about what can we bring? How can we give more to our listeners and our audience? And we just want to have you with us on our journey. So that's what I'm excited about. Lenka, I'm going to throw that question back at you. What are you excited about for the future?
As you were speaking, I started thinking that I know that initially we were like, oh, once we grow, we're going to get these big guests. I know Brené Brown and Gabor Mate are on our list. But actually, I'm kind of excited about allowing the people who don't have a voice out there yet, who are not as well known, and who maybe not are being heard, to bring them and give them the space, and to allow their voices and their opinions and experiences and wisdom to be shared. So I am very much looking forward to exploring and finding more random guests and see what they have to say, because we all uniquely have a story, and we all have something to add and share to enrich other people's lives and allow others to bring more life in one's life. And I am looking forward to do more with the podcast, be the YouTube channel, be the newsletter, be growing this community and seeing how we can connect more with our audience, how we can get to know them better and bring them even closer, and seeing where this, passion project can potentially take us, what new opportunities this can open for the both of us. So the sky's the limit, or not even the sky's the limit. And I'm excited just to take it step by step. We're still treating it as a, passion project and allowing ourselves the time and space to take it easy, but yet challenging ourselves and increasing some of the tweaking, some of the bits, improving some of the bits, fixing things and adding a little bit of the shizzle on top. So I'm excited for the future. That being said, how about you, our lovely listeners and viewers? How about you? Are you new here? Have you been around for a while? Let us know. What are you looking forward to? What would you like us to see, do, talk about, discuss? We'd love to hear from you. And from now on YouTube, we also have a very easy way for you to get in touch. Just drop a comment. If you're listening on a podcast episode, head over to the YouTube channel. We'll obviously add all the links in the description below. Come over on YouTube, say hello. Let us know which one was your favorite episode so far. What have you learned? So thank you so much for being here with us for 80 episodes. And yeah, here's to another 500, whatever. Thank you so much. See you soon.